6:30 on my computer.
Okay, Luis, let's do a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Welcome, everyone. Thank you all so much for coming to the community forum this evening. This is a forum to provide an opportunity for you all to hear what the progress that's been made in your Measure E bond program, and to also invite you all to meet the management team that is working within the district, as well as the consultants who assist you in the development and execution of the work surrounding the bond. While I'm going to go ahead and get this presentation, I'm going to share my screen with everyone, and everyone should be able, there it is. All right, I'm going to switch my settings, and this community meeting is hosted by the Facilities Department from Fremont Unified, and also Vanner Construction Management, who are our program managers. And just a little bit of introduction for you all. As you all know, Measure E was voted on back in, I believe, 2014, but the quote that is on the ballot that is so pertinent and relevant to what we're doing, Fremont deserves a safe, equitable, well-equipped classroom and up-to-date science labs. Measure E will improve every Fremont school, not just one or two. Fremont residents will see major renovations and new buildings at schools throughout the community. And this meeting tonight, as I said, we are celebrating our successes of what we've done so far on Measure E. And with that, what we're going to accomplish tonight is we're going to review the progress made. Sorry about that. This is on the current bond program. We're going to showcase projects in your particular attendance area. And tonight is Kennedy. We are here also to capture your questions. And we're going to give you a little look ahead to the projects that are coming in the future. So it should be very interesting and informative for you all. So our panel tonight includes our superintendent, CJ Kamick, our associate superintendent, Marcus Battle, myself, Kelly Lynch McMahon, the director of facilities, and Mr. Gerald Green, our bond manager. And then I had invited members of the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee, but I'm not sure if they're attending as an audience member or if they're going to be joining us on the panel this evening, but I did extend the invitation to them. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and let everyone introduce themselves. I'm going to go to the superintendent.
Thank you very much, CJ Kamick, Superintendent, Fremont Unified School District. It's my pleasure to be here tonight and look forward to hearing about the progress, as I am still new to Fremont. So these are very exciting things to see.
And next we have our Associate Superintendent, Mr. Marcus Battle.
Associate Superintendent Marcus Battle, and just welcome everybody to this update on the bond program for the Kennedy area.
And I am Kelly Lynch McMahon, your Director of Facilities, and I am the keeper of the gates, as they say, for the Measure E program. And I work very closely with Mr. Gerald Green. Gerald?
Good evening. My name is Gerald Green. I am the program manager for the Measure E bond. Vanner Construction Management is managing this bond. Thank you for coming this evening, and thank you for your interest.
And of course, we have Sharon, who's our wonderful support person in facilities. And many people know her, but she's my right-hand person and totally invaluable. So just say hi.
Hello. Welcome, everybody.
Okay. Thank you. So let me go back to the presentation. And oops, there we go. Go to the next slide. Oops, why is this not cooperating with me? I'm sorry about that. So as I stated, tonight is specifically for the Kennedy attendance area. So as you all know, Kennedy is one of 5 of the attendance areas in the Fremont Unified District. And as you all
Kelly?
can, yes,
I hate to interrupt you, but your notes are showing up on the slide. It's not in presentation view.
okay, I
It's
thought that I
showing
had
your
switched that off.
it's
Let me
showing
go
your
through it
actual
again.
notes.
Sure, thank you for letting me know
Mhm.
that, because I thought I turned it off. Let's see. View notes off.
First had it on the screen, it was in presentation view. I don't
Yeah.
know.
How about now? Let's see. Share again. How is it now? Oh, I see. It keeps reverting back. How is it now?
Now it's perfect, just
It's
like
good.
that, just like that.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you so much for letting me know.
And Sharon, are you able to elevate Mr. Gephardt to the panel? Can't.
You're on mute, Sharon.
I thought that Mr. Gephardt indicated that he was attending as an attendee and would be happy to answer any CBOC questions, but was not joining the panel. I might
Okay.
have misunderstood, but that's what I thought he said.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay. So as I was saying, the schools in your attendance area are your 6 elementary schools of Matos, Esveda, Blake Al Durham. I don't know if it's pronounced Millard or Millard, and then Briar. The middle school that it serves your area is GM Walters Middle School. And of course, the high school is your Kennedy High School. Reaching back to give you guys a little bit of history, your bond program was approved by you all back in 2014. And it was a $650 million Measure E general obligation bond. And it passed with 61.8% yes vote. And this was to modernize neighborhood schools under the requirements of Prop 39, which was established in 2001. And it also fell under the School Facilities Local Vote Act. So we were able to pass that, and $650 million was allocated to improving your schools. And as you all recall, the process that we went through at that time, I, of course, was not with the district at that time, but there was a long-range facilities master plan that was created that provided the framework for you all to identify what your needs were and establish budgetary items within that long-range facilities master plan. So, and just to let you guys know, all Measure E funding is dedicated to improving Fremont schools. There's no bond money that goes to any administrators' salaries, benefits, or other operating expenses associated with the district operations. All of the funds are clearly earmarked and spent directly within the Measure E, bond. So when we talk about Measure E, there was quite a bit of work that was identified. And if you all recall, there was about a $1.6 billion price tag attached to the previous long-range facilities plan. And that included upgrade of your neighborhood schools, upgrade of technology, aging classrooms, looking at programming to support math and science and computer labs, upgrade of your electrical wiring to meet current safety standards, fix and replace any leaky roofs, plumbing, refresh restrooms that were in dire need, remove any contaminants like asbestos or lead paint or any type of contaminant that would be harmful for our students in the classroom. We have tried to address that. And of course, repair, construct, and acquire equipment for classroom sites and facilities that improve instruction and support learning on all levels. So I'm going to turn it over to Gerald, and I'm going to let him talk about the program and the program staff. Gerald?
Thanks, Kelly. Vanner Construction Management is managing all the construction on the Measure program, construction program, and the staff that we have enlisted are as follows. Myself, I've been on the program about 9 months. Carmen Berkey is the senior project manager, and she's managing Centerville and the Hopkins Middle School conversion projects. Deshaun Hall is one of our senior project managers that's been on the program about 1.5 years. She manages Thornton Middle School conversion, Washington High School, American High School, Walter Middle School, and Horner Middle School projects. Our other senior project manager is David Seth. He's been on the program about 1.5 years, and he is managing the Kennedy upgrades in the Group 1 elementary school program. Next slide. Rajat Jacob is one of our assistant project managers who's been on the program about 2.5 years. And he's assisting with the Thornton Middle School, Washington High School Theater Project, American High School, Walter Middle School, and Horner Middle School projects. Connie Tung is our financial administrator. She's been on the program 4 years. She's been here the longest, and she manages all the budgets and invoices. Melissa Nunez is our contracts administrator. She's been on the program about 3.5 years and manages contracts in all RFPs, questions, answers, bids, that kind of a thing. Deborah Moore is our project coordinator. She's been with the program just about 7 months, and she manages our project labor agreements, stabilization agreements, and general engineering, field engineering. Proposition 39, lighting upgrade projects, the California Clean Energy Act, Jobs Act, Proposition 39, K through 12 program awarded more than $1.7 billion over 5 years to schools to plan and install energy efficiency upgrades and clean energy generation measures. And we have done this extensively throughout the Fremont Unified School District to upgrade lighting and other sources. Next slide. Using Prop 39 funds, 21 campuses benefited from lighting replacement projects throughout the district. Within the Kennedy attendance area, the following schools are scheduled for this work: Kennedy High School, Matos Elementary School, and Durham Elementary School. And Kelly, I'll turn this back over to you.
Okay. So this slide here is just an overall budget overview for you all to see. As you know, you all did pass a bond measure for the $650 million. And what you see here is a combination of all of the projects that have been earmarked or either completed, as well as any additional interest that's been earned or dollars that have been reallocated to the bond program that were received through state reimbursements. So that's why you see the number is larger than the 650 million. So completed projects to date, we've completed about $124 million worth of work. Right now in progress today, we have about $500 million that is under construction between the 3 middle schools, Kennedy High School, and our soon to start Group 1 projects. But they're not included in the in progress, but the ones that have not been started, which are the Group 1 elementary schools, is $35,821,965. Projects that have not been funded, we have no allocation for them. We have what we call a program contingency. And what that is basically it's a pot of money that's like a buffer. So that in the event that we run over for any unforeseen conditions, or, you know, we have a situation where, excuse me, at the Washington High School Theater Project, I know that we opened up the walls and we didn't expect to see dry rot, even though we potholed and did testing in all these various areas all over campus. Of course, when you finally do demolition and you pull everything out and see what's in there, we discovered some unforeseen conditions and damage. And so those types of expenses are what's kind of drawn from in these program contingency funds. The last line item is the board took an initiative in 2018 to add additional funds for the Hopkins and Centerville schools. And they did this because they were concerned about cost overruns and changes that occurred on previous projects. And so they identified $4 million that has been set aside to address any unforeseen conditions within Centerville and Hopkins as they begin their construction this year. So your grand total of your Measure bond at this moment in time is $668,204,721. Sorry about that. My clicker. So the completed projects are varying in their scope as well as the magnitude of their budget. So as you all know, the district has had a district-wide technology upgrade, but we specifically also addressed technology needs at the school sites directly. So with IT upgrades, we've had work completed at Azveda, Blakeow, Breyer, Durham, Matos, Millard, and Kennedy. There are going to be new classroom buildings at Azveda and Matos. And then there have been flooring projects that will also be completed at Blakeow and Millard as the group 1. Group 2 and 3, group 2 has not been started nor funded yet. And then of course, Kennedy was moved out of group 3 and placed in the current project lineup of projects to be completed. And then we have other projects that were completed that in terms of new construction for your attendance area that included Walters Middle School conversion. So the scopes of work here, I knew that there would be questions about, well, if we had this work done, what exactly was spent on these activities? So demolition abatement and installation of flooring according to their group number. So group 1, Blakeow, we expended $316,000 and we expended $108,000 for Millard. Then also Azveda and Durham have dollars associated with the work that is going to be done specifically for demolition abatement and flooring for those schools. And of course, Kennedy High School has $128,354 that has been spent to remove asbestos flooring, I believe, prior to and separate from the current modernization that they're currently getting ready to have completed. So when we talk about the district IT projects, the scope of work included 34 campuses, and part of the IT upgrade included new cabling, new racks, new wireless internet access points, as well as what we call the voice over IP, which is where telephone lines go over cable lines and they don't utilize old technology of the analog versus the digital. So we actually have converted district-wide, and there's new bells and speakers and telephones at all 34 campuses and including the district office and the maintenance and operations corporation yard. And the total project cost for all 34 campuses was $50,152,643. And so this is, as I said, district-wide. So you all are included in that. And so this 50 million is spread out over all 5 attendance areas. Let's see. So new buildings, let's see if I can move this out of the way. So the new scope of work for the new classroom buildings, as I stated, Azveda is scheduled to get a new structure. They're going to get a walkway canopy and 1 new classroom building for a total of $2,387,708. I believe Azveda was put into a category of unfunded when we moved funds around to accommodate the consolidation of the middle schools. But it is still on the list, and we are still going to try and address it as we go further through the program and if there are funds left and available to complete that work. Matos Elementary School, they're going to have 2 new fire sprinkled classroom single-story buildings and related support rooms that go along with that. That construction cost is $2,669,734. And Matos is actually scheduled to be completed, I believe, within the next 2 to 3 years of our bond program. So when we talk about the modernization and conversion, Walters Middle School is our newest middle school that is operational, and it was broken into 2 specific phases. So here is your modernization project, and it included modernization of 10 existing buildings, lots of underground utilities. There was a new lunch shelter put in, some hardscape work that was done. You got an upgrade of parking, some ADA parking stalls, and I believe your parking lot was expanded. There was also underground utility work to serve one new connection from the street into the property line, and then just inside the property line. And then we have 2 new 2-story buildings that were added to the campus that were also supported under this modernization project. That overall construction cost was $10,927,930. And this was completed in 2019 and is currently occupied. But of course, we are in shelter in place, so there are no students present right now. But here are some examples, well, photographs of some of the completed work. So here's your completed locker room renovated and refreshed. Here is a completed classroom interior. Here is also now we're looking at the completed landscaping and the new courtyard that's adjacent to your existing building here. And this is your new 2-story structure here. Your new classroom buildings came in at $19,225,032. And that scope of work involved civil and site improvements, a new fire access lane, and of course, additional landscaping and hardscape areas to combine the old campus with the new. And that's what we see here with this area right here. So when we look at the overall budget that was spent for Walters, Walters had $10 million for the modernization, $19 million for the new classroom buildings. Technology and furniture scope of work included $5 million worth of work, close to $6 million. We have contingency and soft costs for a grand total of $39,364,568 that was spent on Walters Middle School. These are some additional pictures. Here you can see the new 1-story classroom building. And here is another perspective of the new classroom building, 2-story classroom building. And so here's a short video. It's a little less than 2 minutes, but I wanted to share this with you all. And this is about Walters. And as we walk you through, this is your interior courtyard that you see as you come through. There's an aerial of the 2 structures in the courtyard. And your existing building is located to the right. That large one in the center is an existing building. And as you all can see, it's quite beautiful and adds great character to the campus. The classroom conversions accommodated 600 more students and included science labs as well as upgrades to the library. It added new spaces conducive for learning, more collaborative spaces for students and teachers, provided advancements in technology and online resources, and then of course added to the outdoor space that meet the California Department of Education guidelines for physical fitness, and of course outside space fosters wellness and overall well-being. And here's an aerial view of your play fields and your basketball courts in the back. This is an interior classroom / multi-purpose room. And all of the classrooms receive new lighting, upgraded HVAC, upgraded flooring, new tools, technology for instruction, and of course, furniture to accommodate our growing young adults. These are the new lights. And this is another classroom space. And as you can see, the desks can come together for individual or cooperative learning. Here are the new refreshed bath, new construction as well as refreshed throughout the campus. And this all, of course, is funded by your Measure E Bond program. Let's see, let's stop that here and move on to our next slide. So now we're moving on to the modernization projects. And so currently we are addressing Kennedy High School and Matos Elementary as the new modernization projects that are in the process of design development, and hopefully with the approval processes that we have to go through, we can keep on schedule and have them started at some point this year. So when we look at Kennedy, Kennedy was a project that was in our group 3, and you wonderful community members came to a board meeting last year and asked the board to reprioritize Kennedy and move it up on the list. And through your efforts and your tenacity, that actually was done. So now, and we also increased the budget for Kennedy High School from what it previously was to what it currently is now. So your project budget is going to cover a lot of things. And so the picture that you see right now, I believe, is your current configuration of your round room or your student theater. That is going to actually be refreshed and upgraded to meet current standards. So some of the things, here's a laundry list of things, and I'm not going to individually go through them, but we do have a few more slides to explain exactly what it is that you guys are having done at Kennedy High School. So this aerial map that's shown and color coded here, the blue is your theater, which is this large, where is it? Can't even see it, it's so small, I apologize. But your theater is going to be getting a sound system, acoustics, lighting, and controls. And of course, there will be some new furniture, some painting, and some new ceiling, as well as ventilation will be upgraded in that space as well. Green is your HVAC upgrades. So there's going to be new rooftop HVAC units. Additional asbestos abatement will occur. Most of the asbestos that we found is in the roofing material and also in some of the compound joints around some of the piping that is not accessible to students. So all of those areas are going to be mitigated and taken care of, but there's no need to be worried about your students being exposed to anything at this point in time. New ceilings and interior lighting, and of course there will be some structural upgrades that will occur to the building. There's going to be paving and striping, which is this purple area here that you see. This is all going to be redone and refreshed. Then your basketball courts are also going to be repaved and refreshed. And they're going to have new compliant backboards and of course meet the requirements for the new court striping required for high school varsity sports. And of course, this yellow that you see here, these circles represent additional lighting that is going to be added to the parking areas. And these yellow here is additional interior lighting, because as you know, the canopies that connect the walkways around this area have a tendency to make those pathways very dark. So we are going to be improving the lighting and transitioning from interior to exterior spaces. This circle here indicates that we're going to be putting in a new main sewer line. And then this line here represents a new electrical upgrade that's going to be coming in from PG&E to support the addition of the lighting outside, as well as the addition of the lighting on the interior spaces. And these gray boxes are areas that are currently not included in this particular scope of work for this project, but may be covered in the future. So some of the spaces that are gonna get improved are your administrative spaces. They're gonna have improved technology, lighting, new improved security monitoring systems, and of course, updated HVAC. Your restrooms are gonna get a very nice refresh. You're gonna have updated sinks with countertops. You're gonna have new ceramic tile and flooring throughout, new toilets and urinals, partitions and doors that are needed to be replaced, updated lighting that will meet the Prop 39 lighting efficiency, standards and provide lighting in areas that are currently dark, new ventilation, and of course, we're going to update the plumbing and fix any existing leaks that exist. The library is going to get an upgrade of the flooring. We're going to have new improved lighting. There's going to be minor furniture refresh. We did identify some things that need to be replaced, and so those will be replaced. And of course, the library will also get expanded technology as well. As far as your HVAC upgrades are, they're going to include new units, individual package units that will go on each building. You're going to get new ductwork that goes with those new units in several areas as it's identified. You're going to have updated and automated control systems. One of the problems that we have been struggling with district-wide is that, you know, everybody likes their room temperature individually at a different temperature. And so with this new automated control system, it's going to be smart technology that will allow us to have the ability to control room temperatures by zone and have it be automated so that people don't, you know, mucky muck with it. Because what happens is someone will turn up the heat or turn up the air, and then they leave, and then it never cuts off. So it's just running all the time. The new smart technology control systems that are going in will be able to know when there's movement in the room, and it will shut everything down. And then we can set a timer that everything can basically quiet itself or turn off at a specific time every day. And then, of course, we are installing new MERV air filters that are COVID-19 compliant in all of our spaces. So you guys don't have to worry about whether your students are going to be impacted by particulate matter, whether it be fires or viruses or just, you know, unclean air. We're addressing that district-wide and making sure that we meet the needs of the students. So here, our parking light, we're going to have, of course, new lights and increased quantity of lights in all the parking areas. Here also, you're going to have improved controls. There'll be smart technology that's going to be installed, energy efficient fixtures. I believe that there were some that were replaced previously that were solar, but they weren't providing enough wattage to actually cover the area that it needed to be covered. So we are doing an upgrade to that and putting in much stronger and brighter light fixtures that hopefully will have a pretty good longevity and wear and tear over the next couple years. We also are doing new paving and striping throughout. And the other thing that is important that was identified by the site is that we're going to be removing visual eyesores. And I guess there's some blind spots in certain areas where there's landscaping or planting that is just not appropriate. And so all of that is going to be addressed. I know that in the back by the tennis courts, maintenance and operations is slowly working to take down several of those large redwood trees or eucalyptus trees that are back there, because they do pose a visual hazard as well as a falling hazard in the event of a storm. They tip over and, you know, take out a building or God forbid somebody gets hurt. So those are being addressed under this program as well. And then of course your basketball courts, they're going to be resurfaced. They're going to get new backboards, new nets. And we are actually adding night lighting with also controls. And then there are certain areas where the fencing has been damaged or is either missing. And so we are going to be addressing that and replacing and matching in like condition where that actually occurs. The Kennedy budget is broken down accordingly. So here are your HVAC upgrades. And as you can see, we're spending the lion's share of the budget on your HVAC, a little over $12.5 million. Parking and striping is 467. Your exterior lighting is 811. Your sewer and service lines are 492. Restroom refresh is 483, but I anticipate that's probably going to go closer to $500,000. Your roof repair is 387. And this is just patching and repairing and tearing off in areas that have been damaged or show wear and tear. Because I believe Kennedy had a full roof replacement about 7 years ago. So it's not in need of a full tear down and replacement. It's just patch and repair and maintain based on the warranty and the service of the current roof. The round room upgrade, this budget has actually been increased slightly. I don't have the actual numbers, but I know it's closer to about 612,000. Our electrical upgrades are 390. And then we have a program contingency, which is 10% of 245,000 of the overall budget. So this gives us a grand total of 24,502,129 that will be expended on Kennedy's program. So here is the question of the hour. What's the schedule? Well, currently we are in pre-design. We've been completing our studies and gathering data, and estimated start is April 1st, and the estimated completion is August 5th of last year. But we're a little bit behind schedule because we ran into some challenges with dealing with PG&E and also with DSA, but we are currently preparing the documentation for submission to DSA, which we hope to have completed next month, and then do a review, and then our submission in April. And then construction is tentatively identified to start sometime this summer. And we expect to do and the construction will last, you guys can see, for about 3 years. And we're looking to finish it by summer of 24. Now, if there's any opportunity for us to accelerate in any way, we will. But this is a very high level milestone schedule that you guys are looking at. But I felt it necessary for you all to understand what the steps are and to understand the timelines associated with those activities, so that you don't feel that we're not starting, but we actually are in the process of starting and doing some very significant work that you guys just physically can't see with the actual project, but know that the balls are moving and the work is moving forward. Let's see, our next slide. So Matos Elementary is our next project that is also earmarked to be completed. With this particular project, it's not the real sexy stuff that you're going to see. This is all kind of the infrastructure and nuts and bolts stuff that we as the community looking at the school are not going to be like, wow, I see all the money that's been spent. This is the stuff that it's behind the walls. It's not the pretty stuff that you see. It's going to be HVAC replacement, roof repair. There's going to be flooring replacement. And then of course, furniture that is no longer useful will be replaced and updated. And that budget is $4,320,423. And Matos' schedule, same thing. We're in the design phase right now. And we are hoping, we're in pre-design design, I'm sorry. And we're hoping that we'll have our design documents completed and we can have a pre-check with DSA before we actually have our final DSA submission in October. But of course, if there's an opportunity for us to compress the schedule and move faster, of course we will. But we're hoping that this particular schedule that we've shared with you all will hold and we won't have any slippages in our dates based on approvals or things outside of our control in terms of, you know, if we have another pandemic or shelter in place, or if we, you know, God forbid anything happens that causes us to stop completely. But this is the tentative schedule. We should finish, we should start construction next year and finish within a 7-month time frame. And then we're going to close out the project and be ready for students to return to the campus in July of 2022. So here is the next thing we're going to talk about, which is unfunded projects. So if you guys recall, back in 2019, and unfortunately this was prior to my arrival, the Facilities Advisory Committee advised the board on prioritization of the remaining Measure E projects. And at that time, they made a decision to prioritize the elementary schools based on asbestos flooring and whatever the highest ranking project was based on the need. And the need is always based on fire life safety. So if it is something that is a fire and regulatory item, it gets addressed. If it's a life safety issue where someone can get electrocuted or there's a hazard that's presented that would cause risk, that would be addressed. And then of course, any safety measures that ensure that students and staff are safe at all times on campus, those items were prioritized and put to the top of the list and addressed. So schools with asbestos flooring or contaminants were always placed at the top of the list. And the remaining schools that didn't necessarily have the same needs were prioritized accordingly based on what their needs assessment stated they were. So the unfunded projects after the consolidation decision of the middle schools and the reprioritization of projects, it caused several projects to kind of be shuffled around and shifted. So within the Kennedy attendance area, these projects currently do not have any funding associated with it within this current bond. In order for these projects to be completed, we either have to have monies left over from this current bond, or in the event you all decide to have a new bond, we would then prioritize them moving forward with those funds and having those things completed then. So that is the end of our presentation, and I can turn it back over to Marcus.
Well, thank you, Kelly. It was a really great presentation by you and the team. Very thoughtful background information. And at this point, we're going to get ready to open it up. I just want to make sure that we also check in the Q&A. There was a question that came in the Q&A. The only thing we weren't sure what site it was regarding, just to let the person, I think it's Vivian Sam who wrote the question. We weren't sure what school you were referring to. We figured, okay, Kennedy. So we'll see if the staff can answer that, and we'll get started with the Q&A. And if you all have questions, just raise your hand, and our Sharon Coco, our moderator, who's controlling, will allow folks to come in and ask questions. And Kelly, do we know the answer to that question in the Q&A, or do we need to get back
I'm actually going over to it right now. Let's see. I didn't realize there's so many here. Presentation Zoom. Let's see.
It was the one about the designer and the teachers. And I think to this point, the answer is the conversation has not taken place.
Oh, now I see it. Okay. Sorry about that. Let's see. Has there been communication between designer and teachers of the theater and music? Yes, there has. In fact, the design team has met with the music instructor and the site staff, I believe, on 3 different occasions. And the specifications for the actual sound equipment and acoustics were actually provided by the site and the music instructor. And I believe that there is a parent who is a acoustics professional that has also provided relevant information to us to make sure that whatever is chosen meets a certain standard of performance for whatever's going to be done in the theater. So yes, they have had an opportunity to coordinate with one another.
And I stand corrected.
Let's see.
Hey, Kelly, why don't we go back and forth from the folks that are raising their hands and
Sure.
go into the question and answer so we can kind of get to everybody.
Sure.
Hey,
And do you guys want me to type in the answers, or are you fine with getting the answers and post it on the email later? Just tell me your preference. Never mind, we'll just keep going.
Okay. So, Roberta, you have your hand raised. Can you hear me? I'm going to go ahead and click chat, but I don't think, Kelly, that in my capacity right now as a panelist, I can get her
Okay,
to
so
speak. It's a different,
is it Vivian Sam that we're talking to?
no, Roberta Perry has her
She
hand
has her
raised.
hand
She's
raised.
the only
Oh,
one
okay.
that I can
Allowed
see.
to talk. I see.
There she is.
Roberta, you should be able to talk now.
Okay, hello,
Okay, there you go. Yes.
thank you. I really appreciate the very detailed presentation. It was very nice to hear. I have a couple different questions. I can either ask one or two of them and then go on to somebody else that has one. But I was a little bit confused in the presentation on the slide that said completed, because some of the items that we talked about later aren't completed. So I just wondered if at some point we could get some clarification on those, that one side that said completed. The question that I have is, Ms. Lynch McMahon, you've been very, very gracious and generous in answering my emails, but I wanted to bring it up here tonight because I do worry about the parking lot, and I worry even more now seeing that some of this isn't going to be done till 2024. So this morning I went and did my own assessment. This is like the third time I've done my assessment of the parking lot lights. We have 10 parking lot lights at Kennedy High School, and we have only 8 of them. We only have 2 of them that are working. All the other 8 are completely dark. And given that we just had our recent, or we've had numerous vandalism, but the recent fire that we had, I do think that lighting in the parking lot would be a deterrent for criminal activity potentially. And it's just disheartening to me to go through that parking lot and with 10 structures, only 8. I mean, only 2 work, 8 do not work at all. So the solar lights that were put in years ago, I don't understand how, even though we did get them working for a little bit last year, they're now already gone again. So we either need to get on a better maintenance schedule and have the lights work, or that needs to be moved up, because that becomes definitely a safety issue. And you know, I drive to the other high schools and I look at their lighting and their parking structures, and their parking lots are lit up like Christmas trees, Irvington as an example. So one of the lights is very bright, because there's only, of the 10 lights, 9 of them are the solar lights. One of them is not a solar light, and it's the only one that affords a lot of vibrant light. That one is not out, that one's working, so that's good. But of the other 9, only 1 works, and that's just absolutely unacceptable. So
Well, after I received your email today, I did reach out to Kevin Arthur in our M&O department, and they are on schedule to actually replace those bulbs in those lights. And he explained to me, and it made sense, but I understand your concern as well. Because the schools are closed technically, and we do not have people on site in the evening, we recently have only gotten our nighttime custodians to come back, but they also have switched their schedules. So, and with nighttime starting earlier, those schedules don't always coincide with when someone will be on campus after, say, 8 o'clock. So his explanation to me was, if no one ever tells us, then we of course are never
Right.
going to know.
now,
Now that you've informed us, we are going to address it. And it is something that I've asked him to prioritize. And so they're going to be working over the next week or so to get that addressed. And I can't say that it's going to happen overnight, but they are aware of it, and we are going to do our best to address it. And we are doing some other things to improve security and safety at all of our sites that we've had incidents of vandalism or
Okay.
breaches in security as well.
And I appreciate that. And I realize that you can't, oh, always know about it all the time. However, I did bring it up 2 months ago, and it never got fixed. So I am happy to drive to the school as a parent once a week and check for you and send you an email. To me, it's kind of silly that I would take that, but I'm happy to do it because at the end of the day, I just want for our facilities to be safe and to have some deterrent of crime. And so I think that lighting and appropriate lighting will help with that. So my only other question is the sound system for the theater. So I had spoken with both of our music teachers at Kennedy, and they did say that they had met with you, which was we were very happy to hear that. But they were under the impression that there was no equipment coming with the upgrade of the round room. And so I guess I'm confused. Is there a sound system included with equipment, or is there not?
So there is sound system included, but the different, and I had to explain this to them as well, because, when we think of equipment, we think of everything that we would want to have for that room to function. Unfortunately, my dollars are limited only to items that can be fixed to the building or part of the structure. So you are getting your speakers, you're getting the sound system component that is, affixed to the wall, that the other pieces of equipment that will then plug into. The broadcasting system that's part of the room, that will be included. But all of the nice, fancy kind of, equalizers and subwoofers and all that kind of stuff that makes the experience, those are actually things that the school is actually going to be responsible for providing, because we consider those to be part of instructional tools and not part of the actual infrastructure of the room. So that's how we're sort of separating out the equipment versus the infrastructure that supports the use of the room. So unfortunately, it doesn't include, like I said, all the wonderful, really cool stuff that makes the room, but we will have the bones in place, and it will be a functioning space for them to utilize. And it's my understanding they're still going to keep the same equipment that they have, and we'll be utilizing it in the new space, and we'll kind of, as progression goes along, get new things either donated or fundraised, or maybe we can get a nice sponsor from Sony or something to give us some really cool equipment. But that's the reasoning and the explanation behind that.
Okay, thank you very much. Again, I appreciate all of your time tonight, and I look forward to partnering with all of you to help make the Kennedy attendance area better.
Thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate your input. So is there another hand up?
I don't see one.
Okay, well, I do see a question from Jennifer Hampton. If Kennedy upgrades will not be completed until 2024, how will HVAC upgrades be addressed? Virus transmission concerns be addressed in the near term when schools reopen. This one is kind of a two-part answer. Marcus, did you want to contribute to any of this? Because you've been working on that task force pretty consistently, and you're the most current as to what M&O is going to be doing.
Yeah, hi. So I guess I can speak on this in two aspects. The upgrades that Kelly is referring to with regard to the Kennedy site are far and above any of the requirements that are outlined by some of the organizations that provide guidance to the district in regard to what's safe and what's unsafe. The district has done a full review of all the sites, our M&O team, and we are putting upgraded filters, the MERV, um, the MERV 13s, where we can put those. Some of the systems that are older systems that will not be able to accommodate a higher MERV filter, we are making arrangements to for the airflow of the room, maybe bringing in an air filter if we need to assist in the airflow within the room. But all of our safes, all of our schools are safe. They have a minimum of MERV 11, which will provide a high level of safety to our students and our staff. And where we can put in the higher grade MERV filters, we are doing that. And where we can't, we are assessing to make sure that there is proper airflow, and whether or not we need to bring in any additional air filtering type system to that classroom or area to help with the airflow.
Thank you, Marcus. And you know, we will always keep addressing and updating you guys as to what the status is. I know that the superintendent does a great job in his weekly communications with what the COVID-19 task force is doing. And then also the Measure E program will begin sending out a newsletter on a quarterly basis that will also have updated information for you all to review and see. And of course, there's always information available on our website if you have any additional questions. There's another question here from anonymous attendee. Kennedy High School is in a pathetic state as compared to other high schools in Fremont area. Why is major portion of funds not allocated to modernizing the Kennedy High School? So long and short answer is that originally there were funds allocated for the high school, but based on the facilities advisory committee and the prioritization, uh, the bulk of the funds have gone to the modernization and upgrade of the middle schools, which was based on the demographic study that was provided back in, I believe, 2016, that determined that we had significant growth in our middle school and we needed to accommodate the surge in attendance in those particular areas. Uh, Understanding Kennedy is in dire need, and they do have a long laundry list of things that need to be done. But as I stated to you before, we have tried to prioritize and deal with fire life safety issues and put a few extra things in there that are on our wish list. But I know the original analysis when I came on board last year, I think we needed close to like $180 million to fully renovate and replace Kennedy High School. And of course, that's just not possible with the funds that we have available in hand right now, because that $650 million does have to go district wide. And so the prioritization recommendation by the Facilities Advisory Committee was adopted by the board, and they implemented the strategy that's now being built, where you have all new middle schools that are being addressed under this bond, and any fire, life safety, and health issues are being addressed at your elementaries and high schools with the remaining funds that are available. So I hope that's a sufficient answer, but I'd be more than happy to provide you with any other detailed historical information, but that's the reasoning that we have not dedicated all of our dollars to our high schools at this point. Let's see, is there another question? Let's see, Wanda Connor. Can the HVAC upgrades COVID needs for all schools be prioritized for completion by August for fall of 2021? And I think Marcus actually did answer that for you previously. We are preparing to have all of our schools ready for in-person instruction for the fall. And whether it's going to be air filters or air purifiers or new windows or new screens or whatever, we are looking as a district-wide push to make sure that we do address those needs by fall of 2021. And in the event that we can't, we are coming up with alternative plans that will accommodate the needs of the students. And the next question is, the equipment that exists is not working and is not safe. From Vivian Sam. So are you speaking specifically for Kennedy, or is there a particular site that you're referring to when you say it's not working and it is not safe?
I think, Kelly, I think the reference is to Kennedy.
Okay.
And as we respond to that, I think there's also a couple questions in the chat. Some of them have been answered by our prior conversations, but there may be one or two that might still need to be addressed.
Okay, let's see. I can't always see everything. Let's see.
And as you're looking at that, I would just say to Vivian, I think if I'm reading the Q&A correctly, that is in correspondence to the Kennedy project for the theater, and certainly we take note of what you're sharing in regards to the equipment.
Okay, thank you. I believe I've answered all of the questions. I don't see, if you guys can see different ones, please, please let me know.
Kelly, I have Barbara Slaymaker, who has just raised her hand.
Okay, Barbara, we'd love to hear your question.
She'll have to, there you go. Oh,
Okay, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
yes.
Okay, so I enjoyed your presentation. Thank you very much. It was very thorough and answered a lot of my questions. But I did have a question about the lighting. Early on in the presentation, you had said that there was a specific measure that passed for lighting. And then later under the Kennedy dollars that were being spent, there was a line item in there for lighting. So I'm just wondering why lighting is getting pulled out of the Measure E funding when there's a different bucket of money for lighting.
So Prop 39 addressed several issues. So when we think of our Prop 39 projects, there are a limited amount of projects that received extensive lighting upgrades, but our Prop 39 dollars were primarily used for our classroom lighting or task lighting in our offices. And if you have like a cubicle, the lighting that is underneath your shelving, all of those were upgraded and replaced. And then also when we think of energy efficiency, the plug loads, many of our outlets and our connections to our power source were upgraded and changed so that we would not have, power surges or coaxial cable in places that shouldn't have been. So when we talk about lighting, we're talking about a lot of the interior lighting that was replaced at the elementary schools. In Kennedy's particular situation, the exterior lighting, and then of course they did do the solar lights, and I believe I think she said 10 lights that were installed. Since that time, those solar lights are no longer meet the standards that ASHRAE has set for California Department of Ed facilities. And also the technology within the electrical community has changed. And so we have brighter, stronger, longer lasting, and cheaper lights that we can use that are LEDs that outperform a lot of the solar powered lighting. And in this particular instance, because Kennedy is not being fully illuminated as it should be in a safety, for safety, we actually took it upon ourselves to say, hey, we're not scrapping everything, but we are modifying and increasing the amount of lights that Kennedy is actually receiving, because the Prop 39 dollars, there's a time limit to them, and that time limit sunset last summer. So we received funds from 2014 through 2020, and now there's a new measure that's coming on the ballot that statewide, hopefully there'll be additional monies available for us to receive for lighting upgrades. But that's how those funds have been separated. So Prop 39 was low voltage wiring, exterior, interior lighting, and no real sort of infrastructure work. And what we're doing under the Measure E program is all infrastructure and utility related, as well as new fixtures in increasing the capacity that Kennedy will have for the outside and interior lighting. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We have Paul McDermott who has raised his hand, Kelly.
Okay. Paul, can you unmute yourself?
Hello,
Yes.
can you hear me?
Okay. Yes.
All right, I just have a quick question when it comes to the lighting. I've been at the school working there since 2006 or 2007, excuse me. And I know the lighting in the parking lot and around the school is of a major concern, but a lot of the homeless issues we have, a lot of the break-ins, a lot of the destruction that happens at the school happens out on our sports fields too. And a lot of our kids tend to walk from home to school and back. And at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, they're going by that track. Has there ever been a thought of maybe putting some lights out on the track facility area or down by the baseball fields or anything, just like a trail light or something?
Actually, that is in the plan. That is something that we're in the process of addressing right now. And we are actually doing a very short lighting study. Now that we have, darkness earlier, our design team is going to be going out there and actually doing, what do they call it? Videos over time-lapse video to see, how much light is out there, and then do studies to show how much illumination we need to, light those areas, create a safe path of travel. And then also the other thing that we're going to be looking at is security, and looking at creating more security measures that will allow us to see in places that we can't see right now. So we are looking at that and addressing that. And thank you so much for bringing that up, because it's really important. I hope that answered your question, Paul.
Yeah, no, that totally answered it. Thank you.
I'm just writing down your question. I see another hand raised, or was that the last hand?
That was the last hand.
Okay.
Kelly, if I may, there was another question regarding MERV filters. And I just wanted to kind of give some more context to that. I know we referenced MERV 11, but what we're doing across the district is wherever our HVAC units can handle a higher level MERV filtration, we are adjusting those filters. And with a wide range of facilities, we have a wide range of HVAC units and capacity. And so wherever we can increase that MERV level to the highest amount possible, we are. And to the extent that there may be places we cannot, we're taking alternative measures to increase the natural airflow or bring in additional air purifiers and make sure that we are addressing it. And so it is not something that with the wide range of our campuses across Fremont Unified, where we can unilaterally have the same exact answer in every circumstance in every facility. But I do want people to know that we are looking at each facility and coming up with alternatives where we may not be able to make those filtration changes to the highest level. So it is something that we're looking at. And also we are, keeping our primary focus on everything around safety and protocols for COVID-19. And so those also have to be mirrored with all the other proper protocols, such as physical distancing and face coverings. But we are looking at changing every filtration system that we can. And where we can't, we're looking at alternative air purifiers and increasing the natural air as well. Hopefully that helps clarify some of that.
Thank you so much. That sure does.
I have a hand raised for Antonio.
Okay. Let's see, where is it? Oh, there he is. Antonio, unmute yourself.
Thanks, Kelly. I agree with the sentiments that this was a great presentation, very detailed. This will be very helpful for the Facilities Advisory Committee. Just to follow up on the filtration. So is there a certain floor? That's what I'd like to make sure that exists for all rooms in our facilities. I totally understand the efforts being made to increase airflow, et cetera. But is 11 the floor or is 13 the floor? What is the minimum that each room will get. And if we can't meet that, then we either use an air filter, or I heard or an increase in natural airflow. So does that mean certain rooms will not get an air filter and we will only be relying on, let's say, open windows to address the pandemic? So will there be rooms out there that can only take a MERV 7 and windows will be the only option to use that room? That I'm basically trying to get at is, what is our floor on safety?
Sure. So it's a complicated answer, but yes, we are going to address each and every single space. Currently, we have a mechanical engineering consultant that's been hired, that they're going to do air testing and balancing in rooms to measure exactly what you're talking about in terms of airflow and particulate matter and things like that. What it's like with the window open, what it's like with it's closed, what's the capacity of the units that cover the various locations. And when we get that data back, we'll be able to basically create a spreadsheet to say compliant, non-compliant, and then identify what the measures would be to bring it up to. And I believe, I don't know, I think we're following the county, Alameda County standards of minimum performance. And I don't have that information in front of me, but Antonia, I will find out for you whether it's an 11 or a 13, but.
Kelly, I can answer that.
Okay.
Antonio, as far as I'm aware, that I've been made aware of by our M&O team, the lowest level we have is MERV 11. All of our classrooms, from my understanding, should be able to handle a minimum of MERV 11. But where we can, we are upgrading to 13.
And I would add on to that, that I don't think that it's a situation where we're going to have a room with a lower number where we're only relying on outside air as the additional capacity. What I was referencing is that we're going to be looking at each room, and where we need to add additional filtration, whether it's through a mobile unit or something else, we will be looking to do that. It may also turn out that we find a place on a campus where that is problematic, and perhaps we need to find an alternative space for the time being, as we also prioritize our return as soon as is safely appropriate. We also recognize that we likely may not be using our campuses to the full capacity at this time. So we are continuing to work on that, and hopefully that's provided some additional information.
Hi, I'm Mark, here to tell you about Jack's Bagel Breakfast Sandwiches with bacon or sausage. Whoa, Mark.
Okay.
I have a hand raised for Vivian Sam.
Okay.
My 2 for $5 bagel breakfast sandwiches.
Vivian, go ahead.
That's a category for this next round, and it's our prize puzzle round to boot. Jeremy, all right, here we go.
There we go. Hi, my name is Greg Pott. I'm Vivian's husband, and I'm the one who walked through the Kennedy Brown room with the guys from the district. And
Oh, wonderful.
yeah, so I was also the one asking about the sound system and things. And in my experience, we found that it's super important for the teachers and people who are using the rooms to have a little bit of input with the design teams in looking forward to, and I understand we can't get all of the equipment that we would like to get. And but we want to make sure that, there's at least a basic level that can be used, and then have enough, I guess, extra space left in the room that when money becomes available in the future, that there's a place to expand without having another major construction project. And I was wondering, is there a way to get the list of equipment that you guys are looking at buying? And I can talk with Mr. Sterling and Miss Dome as to what they really need, and maybe we can prioritize what would serve them best at the moment.
Okay.
And
Harold, do you want to go ahead and direct him to David?
Yeah, if you could give me your email address, we can reach out to you on that.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. It is GMPOTT at
TT as in Tom?
Yes, T as in Tom at AOL. I think I'm one of the 4 guys left with an AOL address, but I've been here for a long time. So
Let me just repeat that. It's GMPOTT OTT@AOL.com.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
I will have someone reach out to you.
Oh, wonderful.
Thank you.
No, I'm happy to help. And like I said, I've seen a couple of these where they miss a step and it's really hard to catch up. So if we plan properly in the beginning, I think we can have a really nice facility there. It'll be great.
Well,
for
you know
the
what would be
kids.
helpful too, Mr. Greg, is
Yeah.
that if you go through the entire plan of what you guys need and then help us to prioritize.
Yes,
And
I would be happy to do that.
Because I'm a big picture person. I always love to see the whole picture because it's easier for us to scale it back after we get started than to try and add and there's no room. So
Yes,
if you
absolutely.
give us the whole picture of what you guys are envisioning, that allows us to then work with you to cherry pick, say yes, yes, no, yes, yes, no, and then we can put it and prioritize it accordingly.
Yeah, that is my intention too. It would be fantastic.
Great.
So I'll be more than happy to help.
Wonderful. We really appreciate that.
You bet.
I
All right,
see.
well, thank you for your time.
And Vivian. Oh, is that you?
That's me. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right, let me lower it. I didn't hit that yet. There we go. All right.
I'm not sure that everyone is aware, but if you're done speaking, if you could please mute your speaker, that would be great because it's causing feedback and I'm not able to control it from here. Thank you.
All right. Well, if there are no more questions, I really do appreciate everyone's participation this evening. I hope that this has been beneficial and informative for you all. And please feel free to email us or ask any additional questions. We are going to post this presentation to the website, so this will be available for you all to review at another time and download and have it for your own records. But in closing, we just want to say thank you to you all and to continue to support your community. And, if you see something, say something. And if there's something that we're doing that you guys are confused, concerned, or just not aware of, just always ask questions and we'll be more than happy to provide whatever answers or resources to you guys to get the answers to you. So with that, Superintendent, Associate Soup, do you guys have anything else?
Thank you, Kelly and Sharon and Gerald and everybody else. Really appreciate you being here. To our community, to our audience, thank you for joining us and being an active participant in what is Fremont Unified School District. We really appreciate your time. And that's all I have.
All righty.
Thank you very much for attending.
Thank you, Gerald. And once again, contact Gerald if you guys have any questions about the program. He and his team are very, very experienced and always able to help you guys and be happy to provide any answers. And with that, we're going to say good night and thank you guys for attending. And our next meeting is on Wednesday.